Arkansas Congressman and House Finance Committee member French Hill joins us now. Congressman, thanks for joining us. I just want to get your sense on what's going to be in this package, particularly since a lot of Republicans are pushing back on the notion that there should be any more stimulus at all.
Well, Charles, thanks for having me. I think we should change the rules on the PPP plan. There was $130 billion of appropriated but unspent money at the end of June. When we extended that to August 8th, I think that's an area to make sure that businesses that still have trouble due to the reclosings have access to the PPP program. Also, the Emergency Disaster Loan Program. I thought it was a black box at the SBA. I'd like to see the banks make those loans. I think that would get the money out quicker, more transparently, and people could count on it. And finally, I think we need more guidance to our state and local governments. You know, the CARES Act had almost $500 billion of money to our state and local governments, but I'm hearing they don't have adequate guidance to get that to local towns, cities, and counties.
Would that be on the federal government, though? Or would that be on these state governments? Because ironically enough, that was one of the problems with the big stimulus plan under President Obama. You know, they had all of these projects that were ready to go. The money's hit the states and it vanished.
Yeah, it's a key point. Well, Arkansas got $1.25 billion in their allocation, but our counties and our cities don't really have an easy way to access that money to offset the COVID expenses that they've incurred, helping their school districts, helping their police and fire, open their district court buildings. And that was really the purpose of that money. I don't know that we need more money. I think more guidance from the Congress would be helpful to make sure that money that's already been appropriated is better spent. Although
we know there's going to be two real fights, more money for states. And as you mentioned, some are reclosing businesses. I would rather see the businesses get the money than the states. And then, of course, the $600. Do you keep paying people $600 additional dollars not to work? I think I know your answer on that. I want to swing to something else that you posted a letter on Twitter, and it's something I know that you're worried about because your state hitting a record number of people hospitalized with COVID-19. Yesterday was a new record, and you, along with other elected officials in your state, asking the White House for more help. What exactly do you need the White House to do for you?
Well, the testing turnaround time with the big labs and in our university hospital and our departments of health have slowed down from 24 hours to 48 hours to now as long as 5 days. And our congressional delegation wrote Vice President Pence. Governor Hutchinson's talked to President Trump and Vice President Pence. We need more reagents to speed up that testing. So we have the testing going on, but we need to speed up the turnaround time for the tests, which means we need more tests per day. And the shortage of reagents is what we wrote the vice president about. I think the president should consider using the Defense Production Act for that reagent supply. And that's something we're waiting to hear back from the vice president.
Well, I hope you hear from him soon. I think Vice President Pence has been pretty quick on addressing these issues. Of course, we know it really is life and death. I do want to ask where you stand on the big contentious issue of today. Who knows what it will be tomorrow, but reopening of schools. These places like California that are saying, okay, we're not going to reopen schools for 80% of our population, must realize that the poorest folks in those states probably don't have high-speed internets, may not have laptops, may not have computers. They're going to suffer dramatically if they have to be schooled via the internet.
Our state has a lack of broadband in many of our rural areas that affects not only our students and students of low income, but our teachers. And so I support schools reopening and our public libraries reopening. The goal is to do that safely. And again, I think our Governor Hutchinson, and his education commissioner, Johnny Key, are taking those steps with our superintendents to make sure that we can do in-classroom learning for our kids, particularly K through 8, Charles. They need to be around other kids. Right. They need to be in that creative learning environment, and they need that support of a teacher and the educational components, because they don't have equal access to hotspots or technology. And it really is a drag for our poorest students, in my view.
No doubt about it. Congressman, thank you very much. Always appreciate our conversations.